3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the. I'm Asus,
I'm Andre.
and welcome back to another episode of the Let's Go to the Movie podcast. We have today. We have Say from Turkey. How are you, Say?
I'm great, thank you.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, we're glad you signed up to
Thank
be
you.
on the podcast with us. So the topic that we'll be kind of tackling this week is everything, or basically everything, that has to do with Edgar Wright. And
Yeah.
specifically, we'll be maybe focusing more so on the Cornetto Trilogy. So Say, what
Mhm.
made you pick the Cornetto Trilogy, or Edgar Wright in general?
I mean, I remember the first time I realized I like Edgar Wright, and was like thinking of a shot, and I thought, wow, that shot was really cool, but I couldn't remember which movie it was from. I didn't know it for like a year or so.
Mhm.
And like, it was from Shaun of the Dead. Is it Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know the shot where Sean comes back home in the beginning and writes some notes on the fridge, passes out in the kitchen. There's a transition, just match cut. It was that transition was amazing, and then when
That
I
was pretty
realized
cool.
it was Shaun of the Dead, I knew it.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we'll be talking all about stuff like that. Like, I have a few notes on specific things that Edgar Wright always does in his films, so it'll be cool to look kind of into like some technical stuff that he does, because it's phenomenal for sure. So I guess to kind of frame the episode around the Cornetto Trilogy specifically, what we can kind of do is I'll pull up the ratings that are for these movies, and we'll kind of just give our general opinion on it, like what we think that they deserve for in comparison to IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes and things like that. So, for example, Shaun of the Dead, it's at a 7.9 on IMDb and a 92 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead, I believe, is one of my preferred ones out of the Cornetto trilogy. I just rewatched The World's End last night, and so I kind of have that one a little bit fresher in mind, but I've seen Shaun of the Dead more. So, I guess it looks like all of the movies. Hot Fuzz has a 91 on Rotten Tomatoes, and then World's End has an 89. And people have always said that World's End is the worst of the three. And Say, you did kind of mention that was your least favorite when we were talking before, I think. Am I right there?
I might have said that, I'm not sure.
Yeah. But I've always seen, like, I don't know why they give it like a worse rating to The World's End, because I think it is basically fills out the exact same story beats or like same like feelings that Shaun of the Dead has, for example, because it's very close to it in some regards. It's just done in a different genre.
I think it might be because other films, I think their budget is a bit lower, and I'm not sure about the budget thing, but they look a bit older, and The World's End looks a bit more professional compared to the others. They're all professional, but feels more like a Hollywood film, not just good Edgar Wright film, just a good Hollywood film. Yeah,
I know what you mean.
So like the effects for it, because like they have like the new, like the alien stuff with like the popping off all the time.
And it is the newest movie out of all three. It's coming in at 2013. Yeah.
That's a good.
Hot Fuzz was like 2007, and Shaun of the Dead was 2004.
So it's a good 6
you
years
can.
Afterwards, it's a very big jump in effects and what people can do to make for cheap.
I couldn't rewatch it this week because it's not on any streaming services here. I could watch Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. I just finished Hot Fuzz last night, and I mean, watching Shaun of the Dead again, I realized all the blood really fake. Like it's very obvious. It's just a 2D
Yeah.
video,
Yeah.
It's very much
but
like
it feels more intimate. You know.
oh, for
Yeah.
sure. It does. It because it does feel somewhat. The makeup for like the zombies, for example, it does not approach like The Walking Dead or anything like that. It feels a lot closer to like the older George A. Romero movies, which was just kind of like this kind of bad makeup for some of the zombies at least. But like it's still I don't yeah, you're right. It just feels overall more independently made, even though it was, I'm pretty sure, big studio behind all three of them. But yeah, they're all. I mean, I love all three of them mostly equally. I was just noticing a few different things. Like I was rewatching The World's End yesterday, and you're right, say it's not on any streaming services. I used it. I found it on a totally legal website that I can watch movies on.
Air quotes. Yeah.
And that one, there was moments in it that were just like, I mean, overall, like Edgar Wright when he writes a comedy, it's just so perfect because all the jokes are just like so subtle sometimes, or they're in your face, and so
Yeah.
they're so well written. And one thing that I noticed, I really do feel like The World's End, there's some moments where they're in certain bars, and there's a joke where, like, for example, the whole point of The World's End is this group of friends are doing the Golden Mile, a 12-bar pub crawl, for the viewers that haven't watched the movie. And they go to the first bar, get their drinks, then they go to the second, and the second bar is called the Old Familiar, and it's the exact same set as the first bar, and it looks exactly the same. And it looks like the bar in that specific bar in The World's End is the one that they go to in Shaun of the Dead. Like the interior looks exactly the same.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Now
with,
that
like, the
yeah,
rounded bar
I'm just
in the middle.
realizing that. Yeah.
I just was watching it and I was like, I've seen this before. Where is it? And then I was like picturing back to like the final battle scene in Shaun of the Dead, and I was like, that is the same place.
Yeah.
That's like so smart. And if you're a fan of like the Cornetto trilogy, that would be something that you would immediately like recognize, because it's
Mhm.
big, huge, climactic moment of the first movie.
And I was gonna say, it's called the Old Familiar. Sorry. I think it's the bar where the barman recognizes the guy. I don't remember his name. I mean,
I think
I
think that could be right. Or it happens a few times when people recognize him.
yeah, but the barman is like, and I think he was banned from the bar or something, and then the guy is
Yeah.
like, I know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
Gary King, you're not allowed to come in here. And then he's like,
Gary King, yeah.
What the heck? What do you mean I'm not allowed to come back? Yeah, there's so many things like that are just so perfectly timed if you really pay attention, and that's like the kind of difficult thing. Like, I feel like some people would criticize the movies for being like trying to be intellectual humor, because there's so much small shit that you have to like.
You gotta like listen for it and everything else. Yeah.
Every time you watch, you realize something new.
Yeah, I was.
Even
Yeah,
this-
that is.
Time I rewatched, I realized like a few things. I was like, how did I miss that? You know?
Yeah, like one of the biggest things for the trilogy that I know is, well, at least for Shaun of the Dead, is the first, when they're at a bar in the first 10 minutes, and they, I don't remember the characters' names in that specific movie, but Simon Pegg and Nick Frost's characters, they're just talking with each other, and they give out like their plans of going drinking that night. They basically just give a whole plot foreshadowing of the whole movie. And apparently Edgar Wright did the same thing in The World's End, when the opening scenes are describing what it was like in the 90s on that one night where they went crazy. And apparently in that dialogue, or in that story that is told, the entire length of the movie is just explained, because they mention something about like the aliens showed up when a shooting star came down on that specific night in the 90s.
And it's the shooting star.
Yeah, and at the very end of the montage of like the flashback montage, you see them all standing on like the edge of like the forest or something like that, looking at the sky, and you can see a little shooting star go down. Apparently, I didn't catch it, but apparently, he did that stuff, and it's just insane how much he's done that.
Out of all three movies, Hot Fuzz probably has to be my favorite. I'm not sure if it's because I've seen that one like the most times, or just because it's just like it's a funny movie, and I really like how, and then how you ever explain with the jokes, like they do like these callbacks to the movie, and then like these subtle like these, it's almost just like this dumb humor that like I shouldn't be laughing at that. It's not even that funny, but like yeah, it is. The cult, whenever they would always repeat that chant. Yeah, they would always repeat that chant. What was it? It was the greater good, was it? Something like that?
Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, no. That's something in Latin.
Yeah, they would like cut him off, and they like every time he'd say it, they'd repeat it, and it'd just be that over and over again.
The greater good. That's the chanting?
Yeah, it means bonum communitatis, the greater good of the community.
Also, I mentioned the budget.
Mhm.
I just googled them, and apparently Shaun of the Dead was $6.1 million.
Okay.
It was
Wow.
£8 million,
Mhm.
and World's End is like 20 million. So
Oh, very like doubled, or
There's a huge jump in that.
that's
Yeah.
and that you can really see that in like the CGI that's used. It's because I mean, Hot Fuzz, the only CGI that I can think of is for the gore when like the murders happen.
Yeah.
This is just practical. Yeah, that's quite a significant jump, especially since, I mean, it makes sense because those two movies were hugely popular when they came out. And like I remember being in elementary school even, and me and my friends were just like, ooh, horror movies, violent stuff. We're not allowed to watch that, and we were
Yeah, like that's what's up.
Shaun of the Dead, and we thought it was so good, and we were just like, I don't know, 10 years old or something like that. And we were like, we're not allowed to watch this. This is like a violent zombie movie, and we would just watch like 10-20 minute clips of like the battle scenes and stuff. It inevitably ruined kind of the big moments of the movie for me, because when I ended up watching it full, I was like, oh, I know the whole thing now. But I like have good memories, like just sitting around with one or two of my friends, just like thinking that it was so cool that we were watching these like it was like stupid teenage or like kid like brain things that you would think is like fun to do. But yeah, one thing that you mentioned though, Say, was the match cuts, and just in general there's certain things that I absolutely love in Edgar Wright's directing, and one of those things, well, I mean, other than the match cuts, but one thing I want to know what like your thoughts are the smash zoom montages that he does.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like I've never seen somebody use it in that way, so I just want to know, like, do you like it? Do you think he uses it too much? Like,
I mean, no, he doesn't use it too much. It's like 3 or 4 times in each movie, I think. Right? That's not much. And I like them, especially the ones in the World's End, of the beer bottles, like the 4 beers, and the camera is getting closer, and it's water, and yeah.
It's such an interesting technique, because there's like a video commentary, a video essay, that's the word, on YouTube that talks about how to properly do visual comedy, and he basically, the whole video is just praising Edgar Wright, saying that he's like a king at visual comedy, which is so true. If you watch, I mean, even with Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the same thing goes with even somewhat like Baby Driver has some times visual comedy in it, even though it's more of a drama movie. But like
Yeah.
the smash zoom montages, it's like literally just reminds me of suiting up scenes in like action movies or like loading
Like in Hot Fuzz.
like it's done in Hot Fuzz, but like outside of Hot Fuzz or outside of like those moments in Hot Fuzz, like when he does it in that movie and in the other two Cornetto trilogy, it's all like these super intense like smash zooms on like mundane tasks that aren't important. And
that's so funny to me.
It's so perfectly done. And so like I was even writing a script and I was like, ooh, how can I make this moment funny? And I was like, oh, a crash zoom on this stupid thing that the character's doing. Then I'm like, that's just Edgar Wright. I'm just like stealing what Edgar Wright does. So
Okay, you know what that really reminds me of though? I don't know if you've ever seen the anime show, specifically I'm talking about specifically One Punch Man. How they make fun of these tropes of the same thing happening like in these other things like the suiting up scenes and everything else that they always do, like the mundane tasks. There's one part in One Punch Man where they poke fun at like anime being super serious all the time, like for almost no reason, and he's trying to kill a fly. And then like they make this super intense sequence of him just trying to kill a fly, and then he's being like all mad about it, and like it's zooming in and does all that texture and stuff and all the shadowing, and I don't know, it just reminded me of that. And I will say
Demon Slayer too, like very intense like voice acting for like these really
for like no reason. And that reminds me too with the zoom thing, it's like Michael Bay Fox's slow motion done right, you know? Because you use that to like emphasize a specific part of it, and you know how he's always known for the slow motion bits that they put too much into movies.
Michael Bay's like Transformers and stuff,
yeah, those slow motion shots and everything else.
I think there was like one of the movie which he directed, and it was like somebody calculated the percentage of slow motion. 30-something% of the movie was in slow motion.
Like the movie 300 has like, you could condense it into like less than an hour or something like that if like you take out all the slow motion, which is just insane. I think that's not the right number, but yeah, like I love it when people do that type of stuff. Say it critiques it in like a goofy way, but it doesn't like take away anything from the movie. Right?
Yeah,
it's like harmless harmless like criticism, which is good.
You mean like the Snyder cut?
The Snyder
with the endless slow motion stuff, yeah.
I haven't seen this.
About 25% of the film was in slow motion for 300.
Oh wow, for 300. Okay, that's crazy. Is you're saying there's a lot of slow motion in the Snyder cut?
Yeah, like all the DC movies, most of them, the ones made by the recent movies like Batman vs Superman and like the Justice League and Wonder Woman. There's a lot of slow motion shots.
Okay. Have you seen the full Snyder cut?
No, I haven't. I don't have HBO Max. I'm a little too broke for that.
What did we say before? You can use a legal site to find it.
That's true, huh? Would I be able to get it in HD? You can find anything on the internet.
I mean, I watched The World's End last night in HD. It looked like HD. I don't know.
Sponsored by this bootleg website.
Are we allowed to say names?
I don't know.
Maybe we are talking about the same.
There's so many. I've used 3 in the past, and like some of them don't work as well as others. The website's Soap 2 Day, so Soap the number 2 Day. So if there's like a movie that isn't on any streaming platform that you can find, if you don't have the money to pay for
They
a
say
VPN,
it's not illegal.
They say it's not illegal.
The website.
Oh, possibly, but I mean,
I'm sure.
I remember watching movies that just came out.
Oh yeah.
And some of them have like the watermark for the production company on it, and I don't know if that's legal or not. Just looking.
At least they're giving credit, yeah.
I don't know.
The Conjuring 3 is up here.
Oh, so
that just came out. That's in theaters right now.
I don't know if that's legal to have up. I don't know, but I do trust that website for sure. It is very good.
I think that's the site I used for The World's End.
Me too.
Previously. This week, but I think that's the one I watched it on.
Yeah, that's what I did too. And they have so much stuff on that. Like, you can watch full television programs. Like, you can watch like a full series on it too. Yeah, the right one to do is .to. That's at least, yeah, for the viewers that want to use it, it's the safest one. If you want, so if you're wanting to watch the Cornetto trilogy, for example, if you have Prime or Netflix, the more general streaming services in North America, you can watch Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. Then just go to soaptoday.to for The World's End. Not sponsored. We can't stress enough we are not sponsored by Soap Today. Yeah, so returning to like Edgar Wright stuff, there's one thing that I'm very excited for. Well, there's actually two things. I was talking with Daniel, who we'll be having on next week, when we talk about 90s independent cinema, and I was just talking to him, and he was saying that he's finally going back to the movie theater for the first time since the pandemic started, opening up in Atlanta where he is, and he's going to see a documentary that Edgar Wright just released, and I didn't know about it. It's apparently a documentary about like this duo rock group. I gotta find the title for it again, but
The Spark Brothers.
Pardon?
The Spark Brothers, yeah.
The Spark Brothers, that's it. And I'm really excited to see that because I haven't seen anything outside of his like specific style, and so you can't film an Edgar Wright movie, or like a Edgar Wright movie as in like how he does his comedies, how he does his action stuff in a documentary style, because you can't necessarily put that much preparation behind a documentary depending on how you do it.
Yeah.
I really like run and gun documentaries, which are just like filmed as they go, kind of like what Michael Moore does, but I'm really curious.
Like those nature documentaries.
He could make like I don't remember the word, reenactments.
If he does reenactments, he could do that, and I would love to see that put into a documentary setting, because that would be lots of fun. And so yeah, so he's doing the Spark Brothers, which is out now in various places. And then
it's out some. I think it should be out on
Soap Today.
Site too.
Yeah, it probably is, honestly. And then the big other project that he's releasing this year, I think in November or sometime in the fall. Oh, October is Last Night in Soho, which that looks so good. It's like a horror type. I think it's like a sci-fi horror or something like that, where like a woman gets back to like the 1960s and she meets like a fashion mogul or something, and it just things get super messed up, and it does not seem like, it seems so much darker than what Edgar Wright's done in the past, and so I'm curious to see if he can maintain the same type of
teaser trailer out?
There is a teaser trailer out, yeah. And
I haven't seen it.
It looks very cool, and so I really recommend everybody to. It's considered a psychological horror / drama, so I strongly recommend anyone to see it. Oh, hold on. This doesn't make sense. It says April 23rd, 2021 in the UK.
I just googled it yesterday. It's the initial release. They were going to release it on April, and the pandemic thing.
Right.
Have you guys seen or at least heard of Spaced? The TV show we made?
No.
Spades, like SPADES?
No, Spaced.
Oh, Spaced. No, I haven't heard of that.
It's on YouTube. I'm not sure if you need YouTube Premium for that. Is it Premium? I mean,
or like YouTube Red or something. Spaced is on Prime Video in Canada.
It's not in.
And Tubi. Pretty sure that's a free platform.
It's actually really good. I mean, I was surprised that it get it 100%. Mm-hmm. I'm not that surprised because it's actually really good.
Mm-hmm. What's it about?
It's about. I mean, the lead character is Simon Pegg, obviously. And it's just him, his roommate, and like in the very first episode, he's looking for a place to stay, like live, and owner doesn't let him rent the place because he's single. Just stumbles upon another person looking for a flat. She's also single. They pretend to be married, and they just move into the place. It's about the whole their neighborhood stuff.
Cool. Is it like I'm guessing it's not a multi-cam sitcom, it's a single-cam sitcom, so it's like, it's shot more like,
like Everybody Loves Raymond or something?
It's not like Everybody Loves Raymond or like The Big Bang Theory, where it's like on a set that's like, the other side is like all the camera equipment. Is it filmed like they're in an actual house? Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, so okay, sweet. So it does.
Okay.
It's shot like a single cam. Maybe not. Hold on.
I'd say it's more like one of those. I guess
single cam comedy.
Yeah.
Like you can see, like it's Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Just look at these transitions and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like the Cornetto trilogy and you want to see more with like the match cuts and stuff, this shows perfect.
But that's interesting. It's only 2 seasons, and it's on Prime Video. At least that's where I'll be able to watch it. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's like 1999. That's 5 years before Shaun of the Dead. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It looks a bit, the old shows and movies from UK.
Yeah. Like Friends.
Someone smudged the lens. So they have that weird look, blurry look. I mean, it kind of sometimes gets disturbing. No?
Yeah. Okay, one other thing that I learned just recently, actually, I learned it yesterday when I was watching the credits for The World's End, and I found out that for the Cornetto trilogy, at least, Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright, they both wrote it collectively, and I thought that was
I heard about that.
interesting, because then I looked at all of the other projects that, or at least the big budget Hollywood films that Edgar Wright's done, like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Baby Driver, and then the Last Night in Soho that's coming out soon. Edgar Wright also wrote and directed all of them too. Like that's so neat, because there's quite a few directors that do that, but like when you get like a writer director, like the same person doing both type of projects.
I don't think he like shot anything someone else wrote. I think everything shot is writing. I'm not sure about that though.
Wait, for which one?
Space might be everything he shoots, every movie he shoots.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like he does probably write everything he works on. It does make sense, because like I was talking to one of my other friends, and she was saying Wes Anderson, for example, writes all of his own films, and in a screenwriting class that she was in, they looked at one of Wes Anderson's scripts, and everything was so specific, down to like the shot, the angle, what will be in frame throughout the whole shot, and it looked very, very weird, and it was very jarring to look at as a script, just because it's literally every thought that Wes Anderson had put onto a page. And so I can just picture Edgar Wright doing the same exact thing. And I mean, it's just proof of like a set or like a production that will not waste any time. It will just do what it has to do when it needs to do it. And I can't give enough praise for that type of work ethic in that setting, because it's so intense. But it's so neat, because like you can literally just have a hand in every single aspect of a project that you're directing, and like just make sure that the vision is exactly how you want it, instead of hoping that the editor or hoping that the sound mixer does the right thing. I feel like Edgar Wright is the type of person that is like sitting behind everybody, watching what they're doing, like making sure that like they're doing good things, not in like a bad way. Like there's some directors that are kind of like antagonizing in that kind of fashion, like Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure was notorious for not being nice to anybody in the crew or the cast.
I've
felt like he
yeah.
was the only important person.
And I've heard that what's his name can be pretty intense to work with. I literally just said his name when I caught him out with the slow motion.
Oh, Michael Bay. He's not good on sets apparently.
That's what I've heard from some actors and stuff that worked with him.
Oh wow, I mean, I think I've heard the same thing. Like he's had like problematic working environments with some of the crew, especially like if it's movies that are like made with like such high octane like energy and stuff. You know that the testosterone is just through the roof on that set at all times.
Especially for like a Transformers movie, you know?
It does not feel like a safe place to be in most of the time, honestly.
No.
Oh man.
Completely random. Not even the thing, because I was looking at like the times of the movies. And I was like, what's one of the longest movies that came out in theaters? Gone with the Wind at almost 4 hours long.
Yeah. I had to watch Gone with the Wind over 3 days. With like I was like wanting to watch it with my parents. We were like, yo, it came on Netflix.
I remember starting to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't finish it.
Yeah, that's how it was with Titanic. I've never seen the movie all the way through. I've seen the beginning and the end, nothing in between. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I guess the end is like the important scenes.
Yeah.
Like what? It's like the
Harry Potter is like that for me.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't seen like any of the Harry Potter movies from start to the end. I've probably seen every shot, but I don't think I've seen all.
Not like in series. Yeah.
I took some notes before starting, and I say some. It's just 2 things, and one is mentioning space. Already done that.
Yeah.
The other one is I wanted to criticize something.
Sure.
About the Cornetto trilogy, and I mean, I said I really love them. I just noticed it this week watching them for the podcast, and I think the sound effects are a bit too much. You know, when someone slams down a bottle, a glass, or like the push sound when someone picks something up. I think they're a bit too much on the nose.
Well, I mean, it feels comical, like a comic book or a cartoon, you know?
I think I thought it was like they weren't irritating for me before, but this time watching them, I kinda didn't like it. I felt I should mention that.
That's pretty valid.
I completely understand that. I noticed it particularly with, well, I mean, The World's End's the one I just watched yesterday, so I kind of have that in mind. And with the smash zoom montages that we were talking about, like with the pouring all the beers and stuff, the sound was really intense there. It was it was very much in your face.
For like no reason.
Yeah, I mean, it does fit with like the smash zoom montages just because it's supposed to be obnoxiously intense, and that's what makes it kind of...
Yeah.
But then like when you kind of just get like the full... I'm pretty sure you got like the full guzzling sounds as they were just chugging the beers and stuff too. Like,
I would say I didn't notice that.
It's just like, you know, like maybe turn it down a tiny bit.
Like dial it back with the theatrics, bro.
Just a bit, and it would be perfect.
Yeah.
I think it would get 100%.
Yeah.
Like suited, if it was for like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, though, I feel like that would be encouraged to have like sound effects like that, because it's literally a comic book. Like I was thinking about it, and Scott Pilgrim versus the World is basically like the live action version of Into the Spider-Verse's style. Yeah, like I was thinking about it, and I was like, you very much get like, I mean, that's how a comic book adaptation should be. Like Into the Spider-Verse or Scott Pilgrim versus the World, you really get like even just like the kind of how the scenes are kind of cut with like the actual comic book slashes to like change from box to box, and it's like 2 separate scenarios. Just so perfect. Or like the sound effects noise, or like the written out sound effects that you can see sometimes. Just, it really suits that. And so Edgar Wright was like perfect for directing like a live action version of that. I would love to see him. I'd love to see him work on something animated because like I could really see his style work well with any kind of animated movie.
One thing, how you said like one way to do like a live action comic book adaptation would be good. One example of how not to do it is the 2003 Hulk movie.
You don't like that movie?
I do like it. It's okay. CGI is pretty good for its era. Question mark.
I saw it once in like 2010. I don't remember it. I was just
because there's a lot of parts that are like awkwardly mocapped and they're like shoved in, and it's like it's odd and stuff like that. And they try to do the same thing with the cutting in and out with the blocks and squares and stuff, but like it just ends up looking like that I accidentally pressed the picture-in-picture on my remote. Like, what is happening? Because a little image pops up in the corner, and then there's another little image right there, and then they zoom in, and then like cuts. Yeah, they do it really weird.
Oh, that does not feel like a comic book at all. That.
You know how you turn on the picture-in-picture, right? Like on a TV, and then you get a different shot right here. Yeah. So these people are still talking, and then something else is still going on right here for like a few seconds or like half a minute, and then they kind of blend into each other. Like either this one zooms out or that one just completely goes away. So
it's not like the end of a sequence and you're kind of getting like a transitional shot of like a landscape.
No,
it goes in. It's just a dialogue.
It just they clash literally on the screen. That's
weird.
Yeah, it is. It's very awkward.
It's Ang Lee that made the Hulk movie from 2003, and he's the one that made Life of Pi. And that movie has very few errors in it, at least to me personally. I just really love it.
It was pretty good, yeah.
He also made Brokeback Mountain.
I haven't seen that one.
No, little to no mistakes in it in terms of like awkwardness from like going from shot to shot, scene to scene. So that's
I feel like he tried something different that would have worked if it would have been done slightly differently, because there were some parts that were kind of cool, like there's some montages when he's like making chemicals and stuff, and it you see these frames of different shots, and that way it's actually like a comic book. But I don't know, when you're transitioning to two very different scenes, I don't really think that should be used as openly as it was.
Okay, yeah. One thing, returning back to the Cornetto trilogy, that I really enjoyed, but this is like, unfortunately, it kind of relates to something that you said earlier. You said you hadn't seen any of the Harry Potter movies in full. My comment is kind of related to Harry Potter. They've Edgar Wright cast in some of the movies actors from the Harry Potter franchise that I've never seen in anything else, and just seeing them in like this different kind of role, completely different from their Harry Potter stuff, was very refreshing for me, because I was like, oh, they're not playing some like angry old man, they're just playing like this insane dude. Like in The World's End, Basil, who's like the insane old man who all the conspiracy theories, he's Mr. Filch, like the janitor type dude from Harry Potter.
The dude with the cat, right?
The dude with the cat, Mrs. Norris, that's the name of
it. Yeah, Mrs. Norris.
Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, I remember it from the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, and so like seeing him in like that type of role, I'm like, you actually get to see him act like with emotion instead of like the same stone-faced like anger that Filch has. Like I get to see him actually be this manic, crazy, senile old man, you know. It's lots of fun. And then even with in Hot Fuzz, I can't remember anybody's characters' names in most of these movies, but Nick Frost's father in that movie is Professor Slughorn in Harry Potter, and or like the chief of police in the town in Hot Fuzz. Yeah, he plays Professor Slughorn, and I was like, oh wow, like I really need to watch more British cinema or English cinema that. Because I can actually see some of these actors that I grew up watching and loving their characters in just one franchise, and I just need to like see them in other things, because like what's the point of praising an actor if you've only wanting to see one thing of theirs? So like,
but I think it's really funny. is that I think the exact opposite.
Really?
When I see Chris Evans in a different movie, I'm like, what is Captain America doing in this movie? That's why whenever I was watching Snowpiercer, right, hearing Captain America drop an F-bomb is not really like, it's kind of jarring. Like, hold up. Like,
Okay.
I feel that way about Chris Pine. Is it Chris Pine?
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
Like who plays Captain Kirk in the new Star Trek movies?
Yeah, it feels really weird seeing him in other stuff.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I was kind of initially that way towards Daniel Radcliffe, for example, because like he's done. I mean, after he had the Harry Potter franchise, he's basically kind of like gone and just done the most absurd projects, or like these most super intense character heavy projects.
He's really good though.
He's amazing, and so watching him in those contexts, I'm like, okay, he's one that like doesn't feel that way to me personally, because it's like he's just so good at what he does that it doesn't feel like you're watching Harry Potter acting.
Like, wow, you can play more than a depressed kid with borderline anger issues.
For example, the great movie Swiss Army Man, he plays like a corpse, and I think that might be the second movie that I saw of his where he wasn't in Harry Potter, but the first one I saw, and honestly, it could have been just because I saw this movie first from his other stuff, that really made me think, okay, yeah, no, he's not Harry Potter anymore, he is Daniel Radcliffe, he's doing his own thing, good for him, he made the money that he doesn't have to do big commercial stuff anymore. But it's this movie called Imperium, and in that movie it feels quite a lot like there's a lot of like tones that feel similar to other kind of undercover cop movies that have come out in recent years, but it's he goes undercover as a neo-Nazi. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word. He goes undercover as a neo-Nazi, and he has to like stop this huge attack that they're gonna do, and he's like an FBI agent, and it's this super intense character-driven film, and it's very heartbreaking because he goes undercover as this he goes undercover as this awful person that he does not relate to at all, because you get to like as a person the struggle that's going on. I also haven't seen the movie in years, so I could be misremembering how the story goes, but it's super intense because you get to see him remain undercover even when he like accidentally gets in contact with people that he knows in his real life, and it's just like, oh god, like this is scary. And also like the fact that he's portraying, even if it's like undercover, he's still like putting on that role of these super hateful people.
It's kind of like people getting lost in their movie persona, you know, like in their acting role.
Not really. I mean, not really what I felt for this one. It was more just like, or his character.
The movie,
Sorry,
the character.
Not direct. I was just watching this movie and I was like, wow, just seeing this guy who always was just this image of magic, this image of like calm stuff and like happy, feel good ending movies, even though they got dark towards the end of the series, portray this like super, like this character that's forced to become super hateful and stuff. I was like, whoa, he's moved on from his other stuff. Like this is good. And so I just need to British cinema so I can do that for every actor in Harry Potter, because they've just been so diluted in my head about those characters.
Yeah, like Snape is Snape. There's this one movie, I haven't seen it yet, but it looks pretty cool, and it's Daniel Radcliffe, I don't know, the cover's like Daniel Radcliffe's like two guns, something like that. It's called Guns Akimbo. Have y'all seen it?
I've seen it, and if I could choose one film that would not exist, it would be that one.
Oh no! The cover art looks so cool with the yellow and the gold and stuff. Oh man, I need to watch that.
You might still like it.
Yeah.
Like, it was just unnecessary amount of violence. Like shit. I was like, I mean, I didn't like it at all. I didn't even watch it all the way through.
Dang.
I left it in like 30 minutes or something.
Oh wow.
Because it was just was just terrible.
I mean, I watched that one as well, and the violence is over the top. I completely agree with you, Say, but it does, when I watched it, it gave off the same video game / comic book-y feeling, at least towards like closer like to the halfway mark towards the end, like the violent sections, it really does feel like that. And so I was just more like entertained by that aspect of it, and also just the way that my brain works. I have to finish almost every movie I watch. Like
Me too.
I can't walk out on one. I need to one time, and or twice technically, but one of them, it was because the movie was making me sick and I left for 5 minutes and came back.
Yeah. My Netflix continue watching, or like any streaming service that I have, completely clean unless it's like TV shows, because I hate seeing it there. I gave my sister my Disney Plus account. She has seen Infinity War like 40 times, and she has like 7 movies that she's halfway through that she hasn't finished in like 2 months. And it annoys me so much because I want to keep it clean, because I don't like seeing other stuff up there. And then I see like Infinity War halfway through. Yeah, like Loki season 1 episode 1, only 15 minutes in. Like, at least finish the episode or something. I don't know. Just really annoying.
Things with streaming services too, like Netflix used to have like the star system that you could rate stuff with.
Yeah.
I think they still have the thumbs up and thumbs down. I don't even know if they do. Okay.
That's it.
Because I don't use it enough, because who the hell uses it?
I don't use it at all.
Like, I don't know anybody that, I don't know, say if you use it, for example, but like...
I do.
You do? Okay, you're the first person that I know that uses it. And
I've used it like once because I hated the movie.
Honestly, it's better for you because like it really does help cater the recommended stuff that gets sent to you. But,
that's exactly why I use it. Yeah. I mean,
so
my recommendations are like, so use the thumbs up if I like something.
Okay, I'll start using it on Netflix now, because that makes a lot more sense. Because
tell you what, I'll try to use it.
Because I hate when I'm like starting, even if in the off chance that it's ever a movie I can't stand, that I have to stop, I don't want it to be on the continue watching tab, but I also don't want it to think that I liked it and recommending me stuff like it, you know? So it's...
That you can use the thumbs down.
Yeah, so I'll just start... It's like a very simple fix. I don't know why I didn't think about it.
I think I used the thumbs down, but more than I use the thumbs up anyway.
You know what I do, though? If I don't like a movie, I'll just skip to the very end of it until Netflix, like, it goes out to its own thing, and then I'll just back out and I won't be there anymore. You can't do that with TV shows, though.
You can just delete it from your history.
I found that out after the fact.
We won't be doing any thumbs down or anything like that for Edgar Wright stuff, though. We don't have to worry about doing that at all. But the one other thing that I have in my notes regarding the Cornetto trilogy, kind of in general, is the visual gags. I mean, we already talked about the visual gags and stuff like that, but there's like so many subtle things that are just so good. And like the one that is like used multiple times, or it's used a few times in every single movie, is the "I'll take a shortcut" and then he leaps over the fences. It's just, it makes me feel so happy seeing, like, rewatching those movies and seeing those moments in each one, because it's like just a continuation one after the other. Like Shaun of the Dead,
it's like in Shaun of the Dead, the fence breaks.
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz it doesn't, and I feel happy for Simon Pegg. Finally got to do it.
Yeah.
The way he wanted to,
And then in The World's End, it just immediately, the whole fence falls right down, not just one little part of it. The entire thing just falls, and it's like a perfect conclusion, because like, and also with Hot Fuzz though, we get to see Simon Pegg do it properly, but then Nick Frost's character is the one that just runs right through the fence.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that I love that Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg did together for this, is that all 3 movies star Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. They're always 2 best friends doing something, maybe a few other friends doing things with them, depending on which movie. And the role of who is kind of like the buffoon isn't always set in stone. necessarily. Like Shaun of the Dead, they're both kind of stupid. They're both like not the smartest people. Nick Frost's character
Kind of like Mordecai and Brady, yeah.
Nick Frost's character is just a little lazier. Then we get Hot Fuzz, where we suddenly get Nick Frost, who is just completely dumb, not the smart character, and Simon Pegg is like this genius cop that shows up. And then the third movie, it's just it's a switch of Hot Fuzz, and Nick Frost is the smart one who's like super calm and collected, and Simon Pegg is insane. So like seeing that, it like breaks any stereotype that you would have when like you see like bigger guys that are
it really
like,
switches up characters.
Yeah, it like you see like
bigger
guys
it's
that
the
are
same
using,
actors.
like, comedic tropes. Like
Yeah.
you would see like Chris Farley like just doing comedic roles and stuff like that, or like Jonah Hill was always used as like the comedic relief for a lot of movies. So it's like when I see that, it's like okay, yeah, you get to see like, I mean the whole thing in comedy. Like I'm a huge fan of Gus Johnson, like who's a sketch artist. Do you know him, Say? Yeah, like he's like a great sketch artist on YouTube, and he his sketch comedy, he switches quite a lot with his younger brother and his best friend Eddie Burback, is who's like the straight man in sketches. It's like the straight man is the person who's like usually the one behind the camera, or like a character that is like reacting at the insane person, or like at the person doing weird stuff. And they always just switch it around because it's like you get to see it takes a lot of talent to be the one doing weird stuff in a sketch, or like being the goofy one, but it also takes so like a lot of talent as well, like just as much, to be the one standing there calm, stone cold face criticizing that person. And just so like when I get to see that with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, it's like they can perfectly just hop one over to the other and like switch it back and forth. It's so good.
That's why I really like comedians in serious roles. I don't know, something about like seeing this super serious side of an otherwise like kind of like how did I forget his name? The Riddler from Batman.
Oh, Jim Carrey.
Yes, Jim Carrey in Kidding. Or like Chris Rock in Spiral. Or Jim Carrey in Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, stuff like that.
Oh gosh.
It just kind of shows another side of them that's not really that normal.
Yeah, there's one that I just was thinking of too that was so good, of a comedian in a... damn, that sucks. Oh, Bill Hader. He was in like the show Barry, which I haven't seen yet, but I really want to watch, and like it's apparently so intense, and he does so good. It is? Okay, perfect. On the watch list now. I gotta find a way to watch that. But yeah, it's when you get to see stuff like that, it's so neat. I haven't seen Nick Frost necessarily do super serious roles. I would love to though, because I feel like he could do a really good job. I could be wrong. I might have already.
Simon Pegg in Mission Impossible was pretty good too.
True, he does feel like somewhat a comic relief character, but he's also.
But he's like a lot.
The tech guy too.
Like yeah, like whenever they were like in Mission Impossible, it was one of the more recent ones. It was the one before Fallout. Rogue Nation, right? Simon Pegg, he had that one part where he had to fake knowing Ethan. So he was like almost like he hated him. He wasn't even his friend anymore, or something like that. So you got that like super serious side. But then in the same movie, you get this really goofier side, like in the beginning, whenever he's on his laptop in the ghillie suit. Yeah.
So I'm looking at Nick Frost's, the movies that he's been in, and I don't see much that
was like
falls into like super dramatic stuff.
it just like right when we were talking about it, I also googled Nick Frost. I just didn't mention it, but like you said, there's almost, I can't find anything that's serious.
Yeah,
movie, you know.
Like I mean, he's always just playing the comedic relief in most things that I've seen him in. Like
apparently he is in the Sparks Brothers.
Yeah, he plays himself apparently. Like for example, the movie The Adventures of Tintin.
That's a good movie.
I love that movie because I grew up
Me too.
like reading the original like French like
Oh.
cartoon books, like Tiny Tiny. Just love them so much, and Simon Pegg and Nick Frost play the two bumbling buffoon detectives that are
Yeah.
and so it's like I feel like Nick Frost just isn't getting the chance to do dramatic stuff. He might not want to. If he doesn't want to, good on him. He's like been in like the Box Trolls where he played one of the Box Trolls. Like he's been in like other like just drama comedies.
Why is it called the Cornetto Trilogy?
Oh,
They eat cornettos in all movies.
yeah.
That's it?
Yeah. Like
There is no explanation other
have
than
you
that.
seen
It's just
the...
Got you.
And I think the other big thing with that is that each movie highlights a specific flavor of cornetto.
Yeah, because I know the one for Shaun of the Dead, I saw a movie poster that was like an ice cream cone, but it was like a little brain that was like dripping blood. It was cool.
Yeah. So like the one for The World's End, you don't get to see any cornettos in it until one of the very last shots where they're talking about, oh yeah, food is scarce now. You don't really get to pick and choose what food you get. Junk food is out of the question. You might get a craving for it, but you have to forget it. And Nick Frost is like just standing at a fence, just like looking sad with like a full beard and stuff. And then like a mint flavored cornetto wrapper flops up against the fence, and he looks at it and he's like, oh no, I need that. And it just flies away. And so like that's the only time you get to see that. So I think mint is for World's End. I feel like
I think that the DVDs are like colored that way too.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
It was like green, red, and like a purplish with it. Or like a blue.
It doesn't say the flavors. Here's a poster.
I also always thought that the trilogy was called the Three Flavors of Cornetto Trilogy. I've heard that in the past, and I was like, that's way too long. And so when I was like,
Cornetto Trilogy.
It's just the Cornetto Trilogy. So I'm like, oh,
yeah, makes more sense.
Makes a lot more sense. But yeah, I can't think of which one each movie is. Let's see. Okay.
I couldn't.
Strawberry flavored for Shaun of the Dead. Because of all the gore. The blue original cornetto, which in Hot Fuzz, and I guess according to Wikipedia, the blue is to be the police aspect of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then the green mint chocolate chip for World's End. There you go.
I love mint chocolate chip.
That's a
perfect,
image of it. Oh my god, I need to learn how to use OBS properly. You're just showing us up in your skill there. Awesome.
I just figured it out today.
Oh. But I just love the whole idea of basing your trilogy around that, because there's so many, like, when you think about some directors, there's like movies that they make that feel so closely related, but then they're just...
You mean all of Michael Bay's movies?
That's just because it's all the same movie. He's just made one movie 8 times.
Transformers, Ninja Turtles, might as well be in the same universe, right?
He's made all the same movie multiple times, that's it.
Just with different characters.
But yeah, it's like, for example, the M. Night Shyamalan, it is officially a trilogy, but like there's no name to the trilogy when he made Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. But at least I don't think there is an official name. I've never heard of an official name for it. And coming up with just some type of link somehow in the movie is just so clever. And I can't
I
see
heard
anybody else doing it than Edgar Wright.
It was explained really well on Google, or instead it was an anthology. So imagine just like a 3-episode, it's like a little TV show, but like only 3 episodes, 3 really long episodes.
Honestly,
Sherlock.
Yeah. Honestly, I would love if Edgar Wright did like a similar type of project.
Like a Black Mirror sort of TV show.
Or like just
Inside Number 9.
Trilogy of some kind that was just like, similar stylings or similar like feelings, but like completely different stories with the same cast.
That was completely unplanned that he did that. I'm gonna say that right now. $20 says that was completely unplanned because he started in 2004 and he ended it in 2013. You cannot tell me that he was planning that the entire time.
Well,
That had to be an accident.
Well, probably. What I would say like it was in. I'd say like it wasn't until after Shaun of the Dead and they started Hot Fuzz that they got the idea.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
But I feel like they were thinking of just because I'm guessing Shaun of the Dead just went so well on production that they wanted to just work with the same people over and over again. And I guess that I don't know. I'm not any of the people. I wasn't on set. I was like a toddler, so I was just super young at that time. Yeah, like when I'm picturing the Cornetto trilogy though, like I can see everybody kind of waiting for like the next story to kind of come along, but everybody was like ready to work on another production together. You know what I mean?
Probably.
And I mean Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, they just always do comedic roles together. Like I've seen them do so many things. Like the movie Paul, which isn't the best,
I haven't seen it.
It's not the best movie. But
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of whack.
it's like also Simon Pegg and Nick Frost like together, like being goofy
Which year
characters.
did that come out?
That came out, I believe it. Honestly, I think it might have been in between Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the
Does it-
Dead.
I mean, it feels like
I'm surprised
someone
that's
just
not part of
watched
the
the Cornetto trilogy.
No, because it's an American.
Like,
made
I should
film.
make something too.
That's true.
It's
It's 2011.
2011. Never mind. So it was after.
After Hot Fuzz, before The World's
It
End.
was before. Yeah, it's a Greg Motola movie who directed Superbad.
That's it. I didn't know that.
Okay. Cool. I'm guessing Evan Goldberg was some part in the crew. Oh, maybe not. Never mind. That's surprising.
Surprising.
Okay. Never mind. Because whenever I see, whenever you see Seth Rogen's name, you can always assume that he's working with Evan Goldberg on a comedy.
Hey, they're like Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are like Kevin Hart and The Rock. Where like they're always cast as a duo, just in multiple movies. It's a pretty bad example, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Because, I mean, like, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, they never play the same characters, but The Rock is always the same person.
The Rock is always The Rock in every movie he's played.
Oh, that's funny.
So is Kevin Hart, honestly.
Honestly, at this point, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
looking at the Jumanji movies, yeah.
Yeah.
They play the same characters. Oh, man. But,
Or like,
Movies? Is that more than one?
well, there's,
yeah.
they made, like, a second one with, like, well, because, like, the original is the one with Robin Williams from the 80s. Then they have, like, they made two new ones with
Yeah.
Rock and everybody.
Mhm.
I haven't seen the second
Well,
one.
it was
I don't
all
know-
one movie.
I don't know if...
I've heard it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still watch it because it's like,
Yeah.
it's fun. Like, I love the original Jumanji movie, and so like the
Uh-huh.
premise of
Mostly because of Robin Williams, still.
mostly because of Robin Williams. But like, basically, this is another tangent. Like, basically, like in the first Jumanji movie, like Robin Williams' character like disappears and reappears 40 years later, and like the two remake movies basically experience what Robin Williams' character experienced in the game.
But in a video game.
But, like in a video game instead. So it's like, oh, it's like so.
Oh,
It's like a different take on it, which is just super cool. But that's like,
just see them.
it's a completely different conversation now. Returning to Edgar Wright though, for like just one last little thing, I'm gonna foreshadow something for you guys. In like 5 seconds, the episode's gonna end. So yeah, like, I mean, I just really love these movies. I think that it's lots of fun to kind of talk